Good evening, everyone. My name is Ganesh. Today, the presentation is about mental health well-being analysis at pandemic times. Change the slide, Leka. Yeah. I thank Mr. Sharad Chandra sir for offering his assistance on this project, and it was very helpful to have him with us so many years of experience in this industry to offer us guidance and direction towards the project. And a special thanks to Aniket Annam for guiding us throughout the project as a project guide. Change slide. And without the team effect, there is nothing. So I thank to all the team members who were part of the project, completing it successfully. Change the table of contents. We have divided the work according to these topics: business understanding, architecture of the child well-being, data collection, data understanding, data pre-processing, data analysis, model building, model deployment, conclusion. Change the slide. Okay. CRISDM. CRISDM stands for Cross Industry Standard Process for Data Mining. There are 6 stages of CRISDM. First stage is business understanding and data understanding. The business understanding phase focuses on understanding the objectives and requirements of the project. And here in the project, we focus on the factors that affect the children's behavior according to the emotional and behavioral difficulties with respect to their me and my feelings. Data understanding. The main goal of data understanding is to gain general insights about the data that will potentially be helpful for the further steps in the data analysis process, like how many rows and columns are there and whether the data is balanced or imbalanced, structured or unstructured, etc. So it is the main area we should focus for further actions. Data pre-processing. It is a phase where more than 60% of the work is consumed by the pre-processing stage, like cleaning the data and checking whether it is whether there is any NaN values, outliers are present in the data set, etc. Model building. It is a process where we choose the different type of modeling techniques and choose the best model which gives the good accuracy and proceed further with the model testing and evaluation. Testing is done by the train and test split method. So evaluation talks about the models which meet the business success criteria, which one should be approved for the business, and further proceed with deployment phase. And here in deployment, we try to deploy the model, organize and present the result we got to the customer. Monitoring and maintenance helps us to see the ongoing review of the most model's performance and ensure that it is being used properly on an ongoing basis, and any decline in model performance will be detected. Change the slide. Business understanding. Objectives. It tells us what type of factors that determine the well-being for young children and try to ensure that a biased interpretation does not get involved in order to maximize the well-being of young children according to their emotional and behavioral difficulties. Constraints. Medical data is very sensitive, so and questionnaire consent form is filled by both parents as well as the children. Change this line. Technical stacks. It talks about what are the tools that we are used in building the model from the beginning till the end of the deployment. First, Python. It is used for the data collection, data pre-processing, model building, and dumping the model. Tableau allows to analyze, collaborate, and share the data insights on the data we have. Flask and HTML CSS. Flask is the backend work used to develop the web application written in Python, whereas HTML and CSS help to focus on the front end to design the web page. Heroku and GitHub. Heroku is a cloud platform which is used to deploy the model and manage the model, whereas GitHub is a code hosting platform for version control and collaboration. It lets you and others work together on the project from anywhere. Architecture diagram of the child well-being. The image shows the workflow of the entire process. As we got the data through primary sources and most of the data were in categorical format, then data pre-processing, here we applied imputation, discretization, label encoding on the data, and then gone through the univariate and bivariate analysis. And future engineering is done to see which factor has more influence on the target variable. And model building done on logistic regression and deployed the model in Heroku cloud platform. Change the slide. Data collection. Data collected from primary sources through questionnaire form, which is filled by the children as well as their parents. And then the data is imported as CSV files and loaded in Python for the further actions. Changes. Changes later. Data understanding. As we go through the data, we can see the data is semi-structured data, and we have a total of 987 rows and 60 columns, where most of the data are categorical in nature, and there are some NaN values in the data set. The target variable we can see here are two subscales: emotional difficulty subscale and behavioral difficulty subscale. Attributes, we can see it in detail in the data dictionary. So we can move to the next slide. Change the slide. Leka, change the slide, Leka. Yeah. Data understanding. Here we can see the data is semi-structured and categorical in nature. And next, moving to the next slide, we can see the data dictionary. Change the slide. Data dictionary. In this slide, we can see the column name, data type subcategory, and where each column is explained what type of data it is, and in that particular column, and subcategory of that column. And data processing. This from here, Lekha will join us for the further proceedings.
Good morning, friends. Yeah, coming to the data preprocessing, we will calculate the sleeping time from two columns, that is time asleep yesterday and time awake today. From that, we can calculate the sleeping duration of the child. And coming to the rectifying the data mistakes, here you can see that 9 is entered wrongly as human error in for NaN values. So we corrected the data mistakes. Yeah, coming to the mode imputation, we have corrected the categorical values in which we have NaN values in we in this we can see that we have lot of NaN values. We imputed those values by mode values. Um, Discrimination is done on the column breakfast yesterday, in which we have 159 categories. We group them into 7 categories as healthy cereal, sugary cereal, toast, cooked breakfast, fruit toast, nothing, and others. Then also we did discretization for the column type of place we play. Here we have 305 categories. We group them into 5 as home, school, playground, bike ride, nearby places, street park. Then coming to the emotional difficulty subscale, from the question number 24, we have 10 question comes under emotional difficulty subscale. There we decoded never as 0, sometimes as 1, and always as 2. Then in behavior difficulty subscale, next 6 question coming to the behavior difficulty subscale. Then also we decoded same except for the column I am calm. Here we reversed our score never as 2 and sometimes as 1 and always as 0. Coming to the score categorization, here score between 0 and 9 are considered as expected, and the value 10 and 11 as indicated borderline difficulties. Score of 12 and above is indicated clinically significant difficulty. Coming to behavior difficulty subscale score, there's 0 to 5 are considered as expected, and score 6 indicated a borderline difficulty, and score 7 and above indicated clinically significant difficulties. Subscale calculation can find the 38141 are considered 0 is difficulties. 6.8 is substantial. You can find the 0 to 5 is considered as expected, and the 6 is considered as borderline, and 7 and above is significant difficulties. Coming to label encoding, we converted all our categorical, that is string format, into numerical form so that machine readable form. Thank you. Here my friend Rachana will continue data analysis.
Thank you, Lekha. Actually, Rachna is not available, so I'll be presenting.
Okay.
This is Parmesh. Next slide, Lekha. Like I'll be presenting about the data analysis part. Could you go to the next slide? Hello. Yes, sir. Thank you. Like if you look at the charts, like we have some features like appearance, family, and friends. See, like if you see the appearance rating, most children have the mean rating of 8.39, and median will be 9. Median is 9. So that is pretty good actually. Like most of the people appearance is good, and if you come to family rating, like family time, the spend with family or spending time with family and all those things. Like even in this feature, like most of the people has rated nice. Like mean value is 9.5 and median is 10. And also friends, like time with friends, like the relation and bonding with friends, that is also actually good. Like a mean is 8.72 and median is 10. That is also fine actually. Like these three features are fine. Let's go to the next slide. See, if we look at the health thing, like we can say since it is COVID time, like they most of the people, though they have given rating as 10, but there are some people compared to the previous features. This feature has some students have rated a bit less also. So the mean is 8.5 only, and median is 9. And life rating, like if you see, most of the children has good life with median as 10 and mean as 8.9. Yes, sir. Like if you see, like it is left skewed. Like overall on a drone view, we can say that most of the children has a very like pretty good life and health in the lockdown period. Yes, sir. Next slide. Yeah. If you see various factors depending on what emotional difficulties, see like what are the percentage each feature, like if uh, what are the percentage of features, like what are the percentage each feature is depending on. Here if we see, loneliness is contributing to the 10% of the difficulty. School worries is contributing to 7% of the difficulty, and mostly like worrying contributes to the, like worrying is somewhat high for the contribution. Yes, go to the next slide. Yeah, if we see this one, like most people, like uh, calmness is affecting so much, and then extreme anger, and then losing temper, and hurting people on intentional and breaking the things on purpose is contributing a bit less. So this is the analysis of different factors affecting both the mental and emotional difficulties. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Parmesh. Coming to behavioral analysis, this is the pie chart of behavior difficulties. Here we can see the more than 90% of the kids are behaviorally normal, but 8.6 of kids comes under either clinically significant difficulties and borderline difficulties, which has to be further decreased. This is the pie chart of emotional difficulties. Here we can see that 88.8% of the kids are emotionally normal, but more than 10% are comes under clinically significant and borderline difficulties, which is a big number. This is the data visualization of a breakfast column. Nearly Nearly 60% of the kids are having baked, sugary, and other foods for breakfast, which are not healthy. It is recommended for the kids to have healthy and rich in protein food items. Coming to the visualization of a place to play column, here there is still 29% of the kids who are playing in their garden or homes. It's recommended for them to play outside and socially active for their emotional and behavioral support. This is the view of a bar graph of sleeping hours. Here, enough sleep is necessary for kids, but there are kids who sleep less than 7 hours and more than 11 hours, which is not normal. Measures and awareness to be spread among parents and kids about imperative sleep. Bivariate analysis. Analysis on emotional parameters. The plot shows how being a home is affecting kids' emotional wise. More than 90% of kids falling clinically and borderline difficulties playing at home or for learning. As they are doing online learning, they may suffer clinical, significant, and borderline. Proper steps to be taken, give them support emotionally. Analysis on behavior parameter. This plot shows being at home is affecting kids' behavior also. More than 90% of kids falling clinically significant borderline are staying at home only. So for behavior also, we need to focus on their socializing thing. Fizzy drinks, these fizzy drinks comes under Coke, Sprite, etc. and all. They may take their drink at least 1 day or 2 days or 3 days like this. So this may affect their health and it will also not healthy. It will affect their emotional and behavior. These soft drinks are affecting the kids in emotion wise. So this is also leads to be problematic for clinically significant and borderline difficulties. Keeping in touch with the others, that is like socializing with other people. As they are not, if it is not attached with others or socialize with people, it will affect their mental health, so that they will suffer a lot emotional wise and behavior wise. Yeah, model building will take Paramesh.
Yes, thank you once again, Lika. Now I'll be presenting about like I'll be giving the idea about like what is like what we have done in model building, and before that we have done feature selection. As there are many features in the survey, like many questions in the questionnaire, but our main problem statement is like to find the what are the factors affecting the children mental health and emotional health. So like what we have done is like we have taken top 10 features, like top 10 features like which are affecting the students mental and behavioral health. Like now I'll be telling about the feature selection part. Go to the next, like first of all, these are the packages used in model building, like matplotlib, like sklearn, pandas. These are the things like some sub packages from these sklearn and pandas. These are the things we use it in model building and feature selection. Yeah, go to the next slide, See, for feature selection, we have used a recursive feature elimination process. Like what this method does is like we have to give the n value. N is top, like if you give n value as 10, it will give the top 10 top 10 features that is affecting the target variable. Okay, like what it does is like it has support value. Like support value will be true. Like, suppose there are 20 features in the raw data, and we want top 10 features. Like top 10 features support value will be true, and the rest of the 10 values will be false. And there is also ranking feature, like it will be rating accordingly. Like for if you take the same example, if you have 10 20 features, like for the first 10, like for the top 10, it will ranking will be 1. Then from then it will be like according to the order, like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 up to 10. And then like with this method we have taken the features like which are important, like in our case we have taken top 10 features which are affecting both mental and emotional scales. Now we are going to do train test bit for testing and training the data. Like we have taken the test size as 0.3. Can you go to the next slide, like? See, these are the top 10 behavioral subscale factors and emotional subscale factors affecting the children's mental health. If you want to, like, if you want to see, like, you can read all these things. Like, different top 10 factors are there for both emotional and behavioral things. Yes. Next slide, like. Like if you see, like for behavioral model, like we have built two models. Like one model is for behavioral behavior scale as a target variable, and one model is for emotional scale as target variable. Like first we'll discuss with behavioral model. Since our data is highly inconsistent, we have to come across with some other method which can tackle that one. I have used k-fold cross validation with CV value as 5 here to build the model. And the model which I've used is multinomial logistic regression. Like generally, like general logistic regression will be two class problem. Like for multinomial logistic regression, we can have more than 2 classes. Like after building the model, I got for behavioral scale, I got accuracy of 91% for both train data and test data. But since it is highly inconsistent data, like accuracy is not a good metric to measure. So I've taken F1 score. F1 score I got as 0.88. Like ideal value, like top value will be 1. 0.88 I got. That is also pretty good. And using 1 versus rest classifier, I got ROC AUC curve, like ROC AUC value. That one AUC value I got as 0.78. Like if 0.75 value will be considered as a pretty good value, and we got just above the borderline. I think we can consider this because due to data inconsistency, keeping data inconsistency in mind, 0.78 is a pretty good value actually. Yes. Next slide, please, Lata. Yeah. Same with emotional also, like the top 10 factors affecting the emotional and behavior are different. So the features internally are different, but the thing we have used, like the model building are all same. Like we have used k-fold CV with CV value is equal to 5. Here we got accuracy of 87% for test data and 89% for train data. That one, like that's almost same. Like there's no overfitting case here. Now with, and also like as it's inconsistent data, like we are going with F1 score also. F1 score we got as 0.85, and AEC curve, like area under the curve, we got 0.80. Yeah, that's it about model building, like both the emotional and behavioral model building, and also the feature selection. Yes, thanks. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you, Paramish. Now I will be handing over the meeting. This is Taran to Teja. So I moved on the, I got the pickle from the pickle file. We moved our next step to the model development. So model development we used was Flask. Flask framework we used with HTML and CSS at the front end. So these are the folders. This was the folder structure for the model deployment. That is static, templates, pickle files, app.py, that is the flags file, and the requirements.txt for the intermatching of systems, so that they can work at the same version like that. So that, and for hosting we use Heroku. So moving on to the next slide, this is the total, overall work that what we have done. That project folder that we have created was pushed into the git bash into the git repo. Then we hosted that into Heroku, like from the steps as given below, and more of the codes in the terminal. Then we have the link ready for preview. So can you share the link? So now that our final project is up. Yes. So this is the first home page that the user faces when he or she lands on our project. So if when we check on the emotional difficulty option, so we move on to our emotional difficulty prediction type of form, where the extracted features are being kept inside in the table in the form of a form which we are submitted at the end of the form where the user submits, and then the final output displays in the bottom side of the form, that what are the three categories that the child is divided upon, that is borderline, significant, or expected. So as you see, you're going to see a preview for the marked options, that it has borderline emotional difficulties. uh, So this is on the same hand goes on with the second feature if we select, that is behavior difficulty. So when you open to that folder, that option, we move on to the different form that I've created for the behavior difficulty prediction. The extracted features along how that it is given. So the fee for the top 10. So that again this form you can submit, and then you should are bound to get an expected output out of it at the bottom of it, same structure. Your sleep timing is also asked. So this has, after you can see the options for fulfillment, it is giving the output as given above. Now, can you share that I have for this whole presentation, I've created a small PPT as a name of deployment. So like now, can you share that PPT, or can I share if you have problem? Okay, I would like to share screen now regarding the PPT. Uh, I think I have loaded it in the drive. Uh, can someone share the PPT? Actually, I'm not getting. Hello,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
is my screen visible? Yes. This was the PPT I was talking about. So this is the deployment PPT. So this is indicating all summarized all the key steps that took us to the deployment phase. Uh, Screen is not visible completely.
Yeah, we'll go to the conclusion.
Okay.
Conclusion part will be explained by Suresh.
Thank you, Taran. I'll end with the conclusion now. Uh, so, from the data, we were able to confirm that the lockdown indeed affect the emotional and behavior aspect of some children to an extent where clinical help is deemed as necessary. From the above analysis, we came to the conclusion that the factors like touch with family, still going to school, enough playtime, place to relax, number of days like exercise per week, doing well at school, were affecting the child well-being in both emotional and behavioral aspect. Similarly, the major factors affecting children emotional health were a lot of things I'm good at. Child in house, child in house, their health and their ratings about school or affecting the children's behavioral health. Number of days paying attention in school per week, touch with friends, sleeping time. These were the factors that were specifically affecting behavioral health. So coming to the specifics, the children who were suffering from the emotional and behavioral clinical significant difficulties were staying at home for learning, and some of them were attending the school. So from this, we can assume that the socializing with friends and healthy relationships with parents are both necessary for better mental health of the children. If the child is unable to achieve even one of the factors, may end up having clinical significant difficulties of both emotional and behavioral parameters. So this concludes our analysis on mental health well-being of children during pandemic time. So on behalf of our team, I thank you for providing the opportunity to present our project. Thank you.
Shall we leave the meeting?
Leave.